You're listening to Breakaway Wealth, the show designed to help you build wealth faster, think bigger, and break out of the herd. Now, here's your host, Jim Oliver. Before we jump into today's show, we have some exciting news to share with you. Our brand new online community platform is now live. Get access to free on-demand, in-depth training courses on topics like infinite banking, cryptocurrency, real estate investing, and much more. Just go to community.createtailwind.com. That's community.createtailwind.com, or check out the show notes of this episode to find the direct link to request to join the community. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back, Breakaway Wealth. I'm your host, Jim Oliver, and with me today, I'm excited to have Zach Lemaster. Zach, welcome, buddy.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me on. I'm very excited to be here.
Absolutely. I'm excited that you're here because I love when people have broken away and they're willing to help other people learn how to do that and guide them. And I know a little bit about what you do, but I want to have you share with the audience who you are and what you do.
Yeah, certainly. So let me start with my backstory, and I'll try to make this somewhat short here, Jim, and highlight the important pieces. But so like many of us that are in, financially independent or in full-time real estate, whatever the case is, like we didn't start here, right? Most of us start with different career paths, whatever the case is. And that's certainly true for myself and my family. So my wife and I are both optometrists by education. So we went to professional school for that in Oregon. That's where we met. I was an Air Force captain for 7 years. I was on scholarship for school. And so I was stationed in North Dakota and Germany during my period of time. That's where I started investing in real estate. I think like many people, I once upon a time read what we call the Purple Bible, the Kiyosaki saga, and just learned about how to think about money. But I was always interested in real estate, listening to different podcasts, learning about it. It was a very tangible asset. So I bought my first duplex in North Dakota. I house hacked it. I lived in half, rented out the other half. I thought, hey, what a beautiful concept, right? Because I can acquire, and using a VA loan, which is virtually no money down, I was able to buy an asset, live for free, that had additional tax benefits, grew in value over time. Because I wanted to be conscious and savvy with my money. Now, this is my first year as a captain. First year earning an actual professional income. I wanted to think about how to use it appropriately. So anyways, that's where I got the bug. Next year, I bought 2 more duplexes and continued to buy more and more real estate year after year. This was probably about 15 years ago at this point. And one thing I always tell people is that I bought real estate every single year since that initial duplex. I've never taken a year off. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't lost money, right? Not all the deals have made money. But anyways, Jim, there was a pivotal moment during that period of time that really changed the trajectory of our lives really in general, and was really the foundation of our business, rent to retirement. And I'll get to what we do in a second. But this is where we learned to identify the best markets out of state. We were investing locally in North Dakota because that's what we knew and liked. But it was an okay cash flow market, not an appreciation market. Like we were, after a few properties, we're like, maybe we should start to look at other markets, right? Where there's better opportunity, lower price points, better upside, better ROI, better cash flow numbers and appreciation, more growth potential. And so we started to learn how to invest out of state. And that was a stumbling block, right? But really that allowed us to expedite our investing goals, where we were able to replace our active income, both of us as healthcare professionals, and essentially, break away, right, from our previous career path and be full-time investors. Now, that was a starting point for Rent to Retirement, which is the nation's leading turnkey investment company that we founded many years ago, simply by helping people do the same thing that we did, which is help them identify the best markets throughout the country and build their own personal investment portfolio following our process in these areas. Because we were able to be, we built systems around how to identify right markets and build teams. Fast forward to where we're at today, is that we're, operating across 15 different markets in the U.S. Last year we did just under 1,000 properties, which is quite a bit, with ourselves and our investors. And we help people access the best deals across the country and offer them to them in a turnkey manner, where we are, they get the financial upside and of owning rental real estate. But we're actually handing all the operational components for them, from identifying the market, doing management, et cetera, and helping them kind of piece together their strategy over time. So I know that was a lot packed into somewhat short period of time, but that's our story.
What I like is that was concise, but here, what you just said that you do for people is I put that in the category of who, not how, right? I want to learn to do something, but I have two choices. I can go out and I can spend a lot of time trying to figure out what you've already figured out, right? Or I can come partner with you or become a student of yours or an investor of yours and watch what you do, or it's who, not how, right? And sometimes, and you brought up being an optometrist, sometimes maybe you're a orthopedic surgeon and you're like, hey, all this real estate stuff seems really cool, but I don't have time for that, right? Well, okay, what are the opportunities, what we would call more passive opportunities, but to still be in there? The other thing that I love is that I lived in South Dakota for a number of years, and that in my market was this small thing. And I was like, this is like 8, 9 years ago, and I started using WebEx. I'm like, no, I'm net. Just one day I decided we were nationwide, we're a national company. We'll meet with anybody in any state. And it was clunky in the beginning. And now everybody, having a Zoom meeting is like as normal as having breakfast. So I love that because you expand your thinking, you expand your market, you expand your impact on helping other people. Because let's be honest, is providing affordable housing is such a need in this country, and clean, affordable housing, right? Being the business owner of that, right? Because that's what you are. You're a business owner. It's like owning a factory and people having jobs. It's the same thing, and you're providing. And so I'm really passionate about it. I grew up very poor, and we were evicted, and many times we were homeless at one point in time. So I have a passion for affordable housing, and so I love that you guys were both optometrists, by the way, because I got to tell a quick story. There were these people in Vermillion, South Dakota. They're both optometrists. And she was great. He was arrogant. And I would come in and I was trying to teach them about these. And he would tell me how great he was doing in Wall Street. Right. And I'd say, well, no, that's cool. I mean, I understand, blah, 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 blah. But look, like, you're in a great rental market, by the way, because you're in a college town. And you could own these. And let me just kind of show you, like, could you? And he's like, no. That sounds way too risky. And I'm like, well, what's risky? Like, these college students, they're going to destroy my property. Okay, well, you have security deposits, you have insurance, you have all this stuff. It's like, oh, who's going to run that? Well, yeah, there are management companies up here. They'll take a percentage, and you don't have to do it. I mean, it just came up with excuse after excuse after excuse. Zach, I know you know what I'm talking about, right? Here's all the reason. And by the way, thank goodness for those people, because if everybody got it, then it would be a lot harder, right? So I love your guys' backstory. I love what you're doing and making things turnkey. So, okay, let's say that I'm somebody and maybe I have money, maybe I don't have money, or let's say I do. Let's say I'm that professional out there that doesn't have time. And I go, okay, I'm going to get on Zach's website, or I'm going to get on his social media or on his YouTube channel, and I'm going to learn some more about it. What advice would you give me?
Yeah, I think, and thank you for covering all that, Jim. I think you shared a lot of valuable information that I would love to sit here and unpack all day. But for time purposes, I'll get to answer your question. And advice that I would share with someone is that, well, first and foremost, I think if you're interested in real estate or doing something different, right, in which I imagine most of your audience is, like if you're looking to do something else, and create some passive streams of income, some additional streams of income. If you're looking to take control of your financial independence, first thing you need to do is obviously educate yourself, but that's also a dangerous thing. We always hear about analysis paralysis, right? People get into this perpetual state of education where they don't take any action. And it's like, man, you got to learn. I'm a big proponent of learn by doing, right? And yes, you need to have some baseline education, but the first thing and the most important thing you can do is be realistic about what your situation is, what you're ultimately trying to accomplish, and what your deficiencies are, right? Because most people, are lacking in time, money, or knowledge. Some people have 2 out of the 3. Some people just have 1, right? But and maybe earlier in life you have more time, or later in life you have more more, maybe a little bit more experience, maybe not, but maybe you have more money. So, I mean, just finding a strategy that is congruent with ultimately what your goals are and what your skill set is really important. And then the second piece of that is like take action, right? So don't just be one of these people that listens to all these podcasts and reads all the books and then just accomplishes nothing, because I mean, that's just useless. It's interesting listening to those two talk about risk evaluation. And I always think that the riskiest thing that you can do is nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you're gonna like go the same path, I've never met anyone that's really comfortably retired off a 401k or just been like, I killed it in stocks, after investing for 30 years, and maybe I cashed out at the right point. Like, I don't know, but I met many, many people that are multimillionaires in real estate, and they're just doing it consistently. Real estate investing is the most predictable path to wealth. But anyways, without going on too many tangents, I mean, I encourage people identify what is congruent with your goals, right? You brought up a lot of these points, Jim, but real estate investing, you build wealth over time, right? Buying real estate, yes, you can flip houses, you can wholesale, and we've done all that. That's great. It's an active job. Most people don't realize that it's another 80-hour work week doing that. Self-managing your properties would be the same thing. But if you're really looking to build, like, people are drawn to real estate, I think, because it's a lifestyle choice. They understand, they have confidence in real estate. Okay, it's a tangible asset. People need housing. There's a shortage of 7.2 million households in the U.S. or houses in the U.S. And as you mentioned, there's a huge shortage of affordability housing. So like you're helping society and you're contributing. Like they get it, they understand real estate. But I think what draws them to real estate is the ability to like create a lifestyle, right? Retire a spouse, cut back your work hours, take control of your financial picture. That's all like Kiyosaki talks about, of course, right? Is asset versus liability. And so we try to expedite that and facilitate that for people where you don't have to make this overly complicated. You don't have to be a landlord managing your own property. If you live in an expensive market and your local real estate is just too expensive, it doesn't make sense, too inaccessible. Well, maybe you're best suited investing out of state. Like maybe you're forced to invest out of state. If you have limited experience and you want someone you want to tap into an immediate team that's going to help, avoid the common pitfalls and mistakes doing it on your own. If you're a busy professional, we started out catering to our colleagues, our optometry colleagues that are like, hey, we want to own real estate, but we don't want to do anything else, right? We just want to own it in good areas. And like you set the foundation for us to do that. Let's help you follow. So anyways, that was a long-winded answer, but identify what your goals are and really where you're at in life and what you want to accomplish, what your weaknesses are, and then take action on that would be my advice.
You know what's so funny, Zach, what you said is there's so many things in life that you have to follow that step, that process, right? It could be, hey, I want to be in better shape. Okay, you got to decide what you want, you know what I mean? It's like, but that one step, that blocks so many people. Well, I don't really know when I went out of real estate. Well, I always then break it down and I say, okay, you want to be financially independent. You want to be financially free, meaning you don't have to go to a job. You do what you want to do when you want to do it. Yes, that's what I want. Okay, now can we come up with, could you think in your head what a number would be? And, a lot of people can't, but I say something like, okay, how about $1 million a year? I don't know what your lifestyle is like, but most people are shocked how it's not easy to spend $1 million a year, right? And they go, okay, yep, $1 million. And I go, okay, so if you had $1 million a year coming in passively, you would consider yourself financially independent, financially free. Absolutely. Okay, so now let's talk about how you're going to do it, right? And where are we starting? Like you said, do we have money? Do we not have money? Do we have time? Do we not have time? All of these things. And then is there something that okay, like take you and your wife. Well, we know optometry, and we know other optometrists or other medical professionals that have the same issue that we had, that maybe we can pull some of these people together and do something. So we have that. It could be you're a welder, but I know a lot of the welders. I mean, so whatever it is my point, is you gather what you already have, your unique opportunity, and then you build around it. And wherever you think it's going to be in 3 years, it's not. And you got to be flexible in your brain to go, well, no, that's not what I originally thought, so I can't do that. If somebody came to you, you might not be in the mobile home parks, but if somebody came to you and said, hey, I got this mobile home park in Iowa, it's got 98% occupancy, and the turnover rate is less than blank, which is unheard of, you'd say, well, guess what? I am interested in that. Because what I think I love about commercial real estate, maybe you could talk about this, Zach, is when you buy a house, you say, I think my house is worth this. And somebody says, yep, I agree with you. I'll buy that house. But in when you're a real estate investor and you're buying rental real estate, regardless if it's multifamily, single family, what is it? Cash flow. What do the books say? And so talk about the security maybe when you guys are going out and building this portfolio of your holdings, and if you're bringing somebody in, how it's not an emotional decision, it's a mathematical decision.
Yeah, that's huge because we often find ourselves because we work with a lot of newer investors. I think turnkey real estate investing, and just to be clear, we're not raising capital from people to like pool together like a syndication or a group, and investing in a larger property. We're helping people build their own individual portfolios. And following the process where we identify the right markets, we build our teams. A lot of what we do is ground up construction, brand new construction in B and A class areas because we like that asset class. We like new construction, more predictable, more upside. Single family to small multifamily residential where you're the owner, right? 100% of the owner. We're going to help you build out the plan, the strategy, find the financing. We have a lot of creative financing options where people will buy property with no money down. We have seller financing options. We have 3.99% rates. So we help them piece together all the puzzles to build their own portfolio in these different areas to ultimately accomplish their goal, and then ultimately learn how to scale it, right? And grow it over time because it's a numbers game, it's a scalability game. But you said, to answer your question, Jim, you said it best earlier where it's like you're approaching this like a business. And you need to have a business mindset. You need to build out the business strategy. Often with newer investors, sometimes when they're investing, they're emotionally investing because that's what the association to real estate has been for them for many years is, oh, this house is beautiful. Like I could see myself living in this house. And sometimes it's like, well, we got to break that away. Like, maybe these aren't houses that you would necessarily live in or an area like we do a lot in the Southeast, growth markets, right? And people are like, well, who would live in this town of 40,000 people in Alabama? It's like, well, those 40,000 people and all these other people, right, that are moving there for jobs and things like that. So it's really breaking away. Yeah. Look at the analytics, right? And the best way to do that, it is a mind shift change when you first are learning to invest, but let the numbers tell the story, right? Let the numbers tell the story of why you're investing in this area and how does that fit your plan? In real estate, the same property can be utilized for different people, different ways, and be a win for multiple different people, right? Or the same deal may not make sense for one person where it makes sense for another. For example, we're talking about, maybe commercial, where you create value and you can do value adds and things like this. But like we buy a lot of commercial retail centers where they are not exceptionally cash flow positive. They're very low cap rates, 4 and 5 caps. But the reason we do that is because, and this has historically been over the past 3 to 4 years, it's mainly been a tax play, right? We have excess capital. We buy them because we can put a lot of money into one property at one point in time. These are 10-year lease, triple net lease, credit-based tenants where it's corporately guaranteed lease. Like the tenant's going to be there or the company's paying the rent, but we're doing a cost segregation study where we can take 30, 40% of that year one and do it as a tax play. Whereas an investor looking for cash flow, that deal may not make sense for them if it's not positive cash flow. Now that was a sidetrack from, most of what we do with our investors, like start residential because it's very predictable. And like we talked about, people need housing, but understand why you're buying in that area, that property to meet a specific goal that you have, ideally out front, and then understand the numbers, right? Don't make it emotional.
No, I love that. I love that you're coaching people, you're showing people how to do it, and then you're giving them a turnkey process because it's not like, hey, I've done this before. Reach out to me. I'll show you how to do it, and I'll take a fee, or you'll sign up for a course or whatever, and then but you're giving them something turnkey. I have a neighbor a few houses down that has like mylandlord.com or something like that, right? And he has all the paperwork. It's all he provides is all the paperwork, all the leases, all the paperwork that you need for real estate. He does really well, right? But it's giving somebody a system, because if I don't have that lease and I choose a bad lease and then I make that mistake. So we either learn from someone else or we learn from trial and error, right? Or a combination of both. But I love that you guys, again, something most people don't know. So you're sharing with people how to do something and giving them a system to run on. It's if you were getting in shape and somebody said, "Hey, I just won the CrossFit Championship of the world, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it," and you wanted to be the CrossFit champion, or you wanted to be anywhere between where you are and the CrossFit champion, they have a system, right? Systems are so important. I'm not a good person of coming up with systems. I'm good at following systems. But there's a reason why if you own a Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, they tell you how to make the meals. There is no variation. Like, do it this way. I'm not saying that there isn't variation in your system or real estate or whatever, but what I'm saying is that success leaves clues. And if you can do something that's repeatable and do it over and over again, you're going to have similar results to the person you're learning from. It might be exactly the same. So Zach, how does somebody engage with you guys?
Yeah, and I love what you said, right? Because you don't have to reinvent the wheel, especially in real estate investing, right? There's a lot of people out there telling you what to do, but it's like just owning real estate in good locations with good teams in growing areas. I mean, that's good locations with good teams. That's all you need to do, right? That's kind of like to not oversimplify it, but like just do that and do it consistently over time. And it's pretty much a guaranteed path to wealth. And there are easier ways to invest in real estate. But anyways, Jim, yeah, if anyone's interested to learn more about turnkey investing, to look at our turnkey inventory where we have 50 to 60 houses for sale throughout the country at any point in time. They're all leased and cash flowing. Many of them are new construction. Visit our website. That's renttoretirement.com, renttoretirement.com. If you're listening to this in the car, you can text REI to 33777 and set up a time with our team just to learn about your investment goals, right? Again, we don't charge investors anything. We help you buy turnkey rentals and actually put your money into physical real estate so you can start investing sooner and do it the right way. But we have a ton of market data and research out there as well as our own podcast. So we'd love to connect with anyone that's interested.
Absolutely. And Zach, normally what I do, it seems like on a day-to-day basis, is people need ideas. They need things that are going to motivate them to take action, right? And I would encourage everyone to check out Zach's website, to send that text, to look at. I'm sure you're on all the social medias, and we'll put all those in the meeting notes. But you check things out, right? You say, "Hey, is this right for me?" And you look at it and you spend some time and you evaluate it, and then you ask questions, and then you decide, yeah, this is right for me. And then someday we'll have somebody come on here and they'll be like, "Hey, I listened to the Zach's episode and I turned that into boom." That's what I want to hear. I love those stories. And we get those every day, by the way, and I'm sure you guys do too, is people that are taking the advice and having success stories. In fact, in this podcast, I just started recording these, Zach, is people that have taken the infinite banking concept and here's the success that they've had with it, right? And what's cool is I did the first interview of the success story today, and the guy said, "Well, I was in the real estate business, and then I took this and I used my infinite banking system to buy more real estate and to do this and now this is where I'm at." And it's like, wow, that's cool. In 5 years, right? And when I was in my 20s, I was so impatient. I was like, 5 years. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in 5. It's just like, get on the path. Just, you said this early on. Take action. Just take action. Read a book today. Watch. People get tired of me saying this. Watch 32 minutes of The Strangest Secret. It's worth $10,000, $10 billion, and it's free. It's on YouTube. But do you have courses and things that people can take, or on your sites, or are they working one-on-one with your team? How does that work?
Yeah, so our core business is helping people. Like we go out, we identify the best markets throughout the country based on XYZ criteria, mainly Midwest and Southeast. Where they actually cash flow, legislation, taxes, et cetera. And then we build our teams. We're building properties, they're leasing and managing them for investors so they can buy them. So no, you don't, there's no prerequisite for experience. We don't have to put up any sort of deposits or pay anything. Like if you want to buy property in these areas using our teams, anyone can do that. And we work with you as much as you'd like. For investors that, are maybe not mentally, emotionally, or financially ready to go out and make that first investment, because it is a big deal, even though, average purchase price is $200,000, $250,000 for most properties. So, it's much less expensive than many parts of the country. But, if you just need a little bit more hands-on approach, we do have our academy program, where we can work with you more one-on-one. There's a ton of courses, benefits, and the best part about that, Jim, is we actually pay you back your course fee when you invest with us, right? So it's like we're just helping to get you to like across the finish line. Just get started, right? Just however you got to do it, get started.
I love that. That's kind of like the Hermosi thing: is make people offers that they feel
can't refuse,
saying no to, right? Like,
yeah.
Hey, well, wait a minute, I got to buy the course. Well, we're going to give you your money back. Okay, now I don't have that objection. Now what is my objection? So I love that. All right, so we're going to put all of those connections in the meeting notes. And Zach, I really love your guys' approach to this. It's refreshing. It's not, like, again, nothing wrong with somebody syndicating and going out and doing deals. It's just that fits for some people, it doesn't fit for other people. And I love that your approach is unique. So let me ask you a question. Obviously you've broken away from the herd, and you guys had great jobs, right? Those are great jobs. And most people would probably be like, well, weren't you happy in your job? No, I'm not happy in any job. I wouldn't be. But like, what was the best advice anybody ever gave you as you were breaking away?
Yeah, and you did prep me for this, and there's just I've been thinking about this because there's so much, right? That at different points in my life there were so many different pieces of advice that was important. But I want to quote someone who actually just stated something. It wasn't necessarily advice for me, but it was something that just made, I guess, when we were having issues with some properties, because like any investing, right, especially real estate, like so you have tenant issues, things like they got to do repairs, and you learn how to be a better investor over time. But he just made the statement to me. He's like, Zach, I've lost a lot of money in real estate, but I've made more than I've lost. And it's just like put it in concept like, hey, so this is a long game. And, if you stay the course and you continue to learn, real estate investing is a lifelong journey. You'll reach, much more success than you even think possible, but you got to stay the course, right? You got to continue to apply the lessons.
You got to keep making progress, stay the course, right? I love that. I love that advice, by the way, too, because I would tell people that, look, if you let me do 10 deals, I promise you 8 of those deals probably going to be great. And 2 of those deals, we might lose money. So if you only say, Jim, you can only do 1 deal, then I hope it's not it's kind of like having the 10-plex or having that one stock. One stock, if you happen to choose the wrong one or the wrong timing or something happens, some black swan event, you could be in trouble. But if I got 10 of them, then you know what? I'm going to be okay. All right, last question is, Zach, if God came down from heaven and only allowed you to retain the knowledge that you've received from one book, what would that book be?
Can I throw out 2 books?
Absolutely.
Okay. Real estate investing, when I first learning how to really think like a real estate investor, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. Just a mindset. You talked about receiving $1 million annually, which we've surpassed at a point just with our own, not business, our own real estate portfolio. Like he talks about, how to think like a millionaire, earn $1 million, invest $1 million, receive $1 million, like really key for investing. For the business side of things, most people have heard of this one, but just the E-Myth Revisited by my entrepreneurial myth, Michael Gerber. Work on your business, not in your business. Don't be your property manager. Like hire the right people out. Your time is more valuable, right? Learn how to operate a business is really key.
Great classic book. And, I read that book, I think in my 20s, and I'm telling you, it didn't sink in. I was like, what? And again, I wasn't a great student. So sometimes I have to read things 2 or 3 times. But what a great book. Once I got it, and then when I got it, probably it was in my late 20s, I was like, oh, I've been doing some of this, right? Like, okay, I believe, maybe it was like he planted the seed subconsciously in my head, like when I read it the first time. But that's a great book. And I like the way that Gary Keller talks about that too, is, you know, and I throw out $1 million because, again, $1 million, it's hard to spend $1 million a year. My lifestyle is not that fancy, but I do what I want to do when I want to do it, and I do everything I want to do. So I love that freedom part of it. But if you could build $1 million of passive cash flow, guess what? It's easier to go from $1 million to 2 million than 0 to $1 million. So if you said, nope, Jim, I'm flying private, I'm going here, okay, then just keep going, and I love that you said that earlier, Zach. It's just keep going, right? Like, why would you ever stop? Like, that's the other thing too. When people think about retirement, I know that the way that you're thinking about retirement is not that what you said. Okay, I stop, I've got this lump sum of money, and then I hope I don't run out of money before I die. What you're saying is we're building cash flow, and this cash flow is going to go on forever. Even if all of my properties are in North Dakota and they're never going to appreciate any more than they are today, which isn't true, but let's just say that was the case, but they cash flow. I just need more of them. Right. So I love that. Zach, so thank you so much. Everybody, please reach out, learn more about Zach and rent to retirement. I think it's a cool concept. I can tell that he's done this. I mean, I love that, again, the breakaway story. You didn't have to do it. You did it because you wanted to, and you saw this and there was a need. So thank you very much for your impact on all these other people, Zach. And audience, we're going to end this like we do every show with the incredible words of Earl Nightingale and The Strangest Secret. So take it away, Earl.
Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about.
Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to hear what was shared on today's podcast. If you are looking to discover new wealth building strategies, then go to community.createtailwind.com. That's community.createtailwind.com to join our free online community and get access to free courses and in-depth training videos designed to help you build wealth and break away from the herd. Click the link in the show notes to access the community today. Thanks again for listening.